Welcome to another episode of The Cutting Room Floor. I'm Shane Segars, the spiritual formation pastor here at Centerpoint Fellowship Church, joined by John Schmidt, the senior
Hello.
pastor.
Yep.
So this is episode number 2.
We got one in the bank, and so it's good to get on to number 2.
So I guess Debbie thought one was good enough, and we could go on with number 2.
Yeah, she listened to it. She said, "I'll let you do another one." So we'll go from there. But the whole idea of the cutting room floor was these are things that I just don't have time to say everything. I study a lot for each message, but these are kind of things that if I had another hour or another 30 minutes, we probably would have hit this too.
Yeah. And, we're hoping, again, that it's not just saying more about what we said, but that it'd be something that maybe we could answer questions from people over the sermon if they had questions, or we could go deeper into an area that you're like, there's so much in this. It could have been a series itself, let alone just a point in a message.
Oh, yeah. So that's true. And I'll try to share some personal applications, too, because a lot of times people ask, hey, how does this apply to you? And, man, we're talking about having peace of mind and heart. Oh, my goodness, I'm like everybody else. What drove this whole thing of with God's help, we can have peace of mind and heart is that I see people, they're just absolutely frantic sometimes, and they can't even think. They don't know what to do about a decision. They're paralyzed, and a lot of times it's just because of information overload.
Right.
I mean, they're listening to all kinds of terrifying interpretations of what's going on in the world from various podcasts, or they're getting online and they're outraged and angry because of something somebody said to them online, and you put all of it together plus the stress they have in their everyday dynamics, and they literally it's like a paralysis circle is what I call it, where they're surrounded on all sides by so many problems they literally don't know what to do.
Yeah, that can happen. I'm someone, I like to research, and so that I can get paralyzed in a sense where there's no end to information out there.
Yeah.
So I can keep listening, keep reading, keep trying to get more information. And then the more information you get, the more options you get. And then you're like, well, you get paralyzed even again with all of that. So
yeah, and so the whole idea behind the message was just, well, how do I get peace of mind and heart? Because Jesus promised that. And if I'm a Christian and I've given my heart to Jesus, but I have no peace, then something went wrong.
Yeah. I'm disconnected somewhere. And that's the big thing is that really, the whole message was about, well, if I'm not experiencing peace of mind and heart, peace is love and joy and peace are first listed in the top 3 on the beginning of the list of spiritual gifts. Right.
So
fruit of the Spirit.
Fruit of the Spirit. Sorry, fruit of the Spirit. Yes, thank you. Yeah, well said. But the idea is that if these are the fruit of the Spirit, well, then it's like 3 dimensions of that. Well, then if I stay connected to Jesus, I should be having peace. But if I don't have peace, then obviously the connection's broken.
Yeah.
And so we talked about how to restore that connection. And I notice it in my life too, is that at times I have no peace. I'll be thinking about an issue or I'll pray, and I'll even finish a prayer time and realize I didn't really pray to God. I ranted to God. God, this isn't right, and this isn't right, and this isn't right, and this isn't right, and amen. And it's like, wow. And that could happen in my own life too. It did happen sometimes with my kids when they were teenagers. They go, I don't like this, I don't like that, and wham, slam the door or something. You go, well, that was just such a delightful conversation.
Yeah. We all have we all struggle with that at times. I call it rehearsing our worries, because we just keep saying it over and over again. And instead of going to God and giving it to Him, all we're doing is just amplifying it in our own hearts and minds, because we're not really giving it to Him. We're just keep talking about it. And next thing you know, I haven't really thought about Him, who He is, what His power is, what He wants to do in the situation. I'm just still focused on me and what's going on. And so it has the opposite effect.
Yeah, in fact, I come away at least distressed, and then it's like, or probably angry, because now I wasted 20 minutes talking about it, and God's not going to do anything about it, obviously. And it's like, and I don't even know that I asked Him for anything. I just ranted. And it was the whole idea behind the message of saying, hey, what if we took some time for Sabbath, and what if we limited our screen time? And I will tell you, it's so interesting. What people have stopped and talked to me about is the screen time thing.
Right.
And apparently I'm not the only one who wastes a lot of time on my phone. I can waste so many times. So, it was funny because I was preparing for this message, and one night I was sitting there And Debbie said, what are you talking about this Sunday? I said, well, I'm talking about these things about wasting screen time. She goes, well, you've been watching something for 20 minutes. And it was like, I looked back and I had watched like these series of YouTube videos where one of them was a guy turning a wooden bowl on a lathe. I don't have a lathe. I've never done woodworking. I just thought, wow, that's really amazing. I could never do that. It was like a 6-minute video.
Right.
And I watched somebody turn a bowl. And I have no idea why, but I've done that too. I've watched people weld something or other things, and just because it was on there, or one guy was building a log cabin in the snow.
Yeah,
and I've
seen that same video.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So apparently the algorithm says Shane would like that and John would like that. And I'm watching this guy building a log cabin, a time lapse thing, and for the life of me, I don't even know how I got there. And but all of us can do this, and there are algorithms that just keep us going. And so instead of prayer, instead of reading God's word and other things, I'm filling my head. There's nothing inherently wrong with watching somebody build a log cabin. That's good for them. But what is wrong is that I'm missing out on, if then I didn't have time to pray and I didn't have time to read my Bible and I didn't have time to just sit quietly in the Lord's presence, well, then it should be little wonder that I haven't found any relief from the stress. That might entertain me for a while or just get my mind, like chewing bubble gum or something, but it's not going to actually solve anything.
Yeah, because I find that the fruit of the Spirit, whatever it is, whether it's peace or patience or all those things, it really comes not from changing my circumstances. It comes from what I think about God in the midst of those circumstances. And so what we put in our mind definitely determines what we think, and then that determines what we feel and everything else. So
yeah, and so in that message it was talking about, well, what if I intentionally had a Sabbath day? And we talked about that, and then I got all this feedback too that because in our little handout on Sunday morning I gave them all kinds of things you could do. You could take a nap, you could read the Bible and pray for an hour, you could go check on a friend you haven't seen in a long time, just some very go to bed early, things like this. And it was so funny because I talked with people afterward and through emails and the like, and so it's funny that was something they had never once thought about other than, hey, we're going to attend worship, but that's it. I mean, what do you do on a Sabbath day? Well, I go to church sometimes, and then I just do whatever else comes naturally. There's no planning of the day.
Right.
And it's, well, if it's a day off, then I don't have to plan it. And it's like, well, you don't have to, but again, it goes back to that thing, just like watching somebody turn a wooden bowl on a lathe. Well, if you're going to watch something, but why would you just turn something on and let your mind pinwheel?
Yeah, because I think, some people don't think about it at all. And if they do think, oh, it's a day of rest, it means I do absolutely nothing. Like I just sit there like this,
right?
But you can also do things that recharge you, refresh you.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. It's like, what were the things that would do that? And, we talked about, hey, what if I actually got out my calendar and planned it and then talked about it with friends? Or what if I went and did a hobby that really helped me rejuvenate my mind? Or, we just went and did something fun as a family and played a game or something like that just allowed us to go deeper in our own relationships. I didn't mention that at all, but a fringe benefit of a Sabbath time is not only a deeper relationship with God, but deeper relationships with our family and our friends. I actually have time to sit down and talk, if I plan it. And that used to be a part of it. When I was a kid even, people did that on Sunday afternoons. They would go visit other families. They would just go see people. Hey, and my dad and mom would tell me, hey, your aunt and uncle are coming over, and depending on who it was, sometimes that was a good thing, and sometimes it wasn't. But the whole thing was that was a day when you would actually go sit down and go visit people. You'd drop by.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the big things that you made a strong point in, is that Jesus was clear that the Sabbath was made for people, not a rule to keep people busy or occupied trying to earn something.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I didn't have time to talk about regarding that, or even the daily time, is that sometimes we like to think up, well, I could go to a conference or I could have a big worship event, and now I've stored up enough peace to last me for 3 months. It doesn't work that way. Love and joy and peace, the fruit of the Spirit, all those things, they're like manna. You got to go pick them up every day. And if you don't go pick them up every day, I mean, you run out, and I can't store up a 5-week supply of joy and love and kindness in my heart. It's like, I really need to come to the Lord for that every day, because sometimes I can run into a circumstance that drains all the joy out of it. I mean, It's really heavy, and I need to seek him today. And I wish if I would have had more time, that's one of the things I really would have talked about, is the importance of this. Has to be, it's not only that we do a Sabbath day every week, but we spend time with God every day, because you can't just store it up.
Yeah, it's an ongoing discipline or practice in our life. And, I think Rick Warren said something about, you divert daily, and then, you worship weekly. You know how he does with the alliteration.
Yeah,
but
he's
it was
really good.
You
at
do
that.
something daily, you do something weekly, and you do something annually, as a part of really trying to keep that discipline of resting in your life.
Yeah, because I just think that, just like eating, I need to eat every day. I don't need to eat massive amounts of food and gorge myself and then not, like a snake or something, and not eat for 2 weeks. I need to eat the right amount every day. And if I eat the right amount every day, I'll have the energy I need, and I feel good. I won't feel tired and exhausted. I'll feel right. And it's the same way. That's something that I wish I had emphasized stronger, just the importance of not only having a weekly day with the Lord, but daily time with the Lord. If I really want peace, that's a big part of it.
Right. And in that daily time with the Lord, I know that one of the things we talked a couple weeks ago is about the importance of reading the Word, which again, we get God's truth, and God's truth really changes what we think, and that changes, again, what we feel, or what's going on in our life, what we can trust him with. But another thing that I know is, we joke around here that John Schmidt's love language is prayer. That prayer is you pray about everything. You are always seeking to make a matter of prayer about everything. So how would praying daily be a part of this for you?
Well, I think that, sometimes people ask me, I've prayed about something and I keep praying about it. The Bible says, keep on knocking, keep on praying. How do you know when you've prayed enough? And it's kind of like, and I tie it together with what I was just talking about, even with the daily eating and stuff. I feel like when you prayed about it enough, and I was trying to come up with a word, and I really hadn't even thought about it till I was on the platform Sunday morning, and I just called it settledness. There's Paul says that we're supposed to leave everything at the feet of the Lord, give him thanks, along with thanksgiving, make our requests, and then a peace of God that passes all understanding will guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. I don't know how to describe that, but that isn't just a poetic notion. I mean, that's an existential reality in my life. I pray about stuff till I have a settled understanding that the Lord's going to take care of this. And I don't even know how to describe it other than that. But sometimes I'll have to pray about stuff. I'll pray about it in the morning. I'll pray about it at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'll pray about it at noon. I'll pray about it at 2 in the afternoon, things. And sometimes it's not till like 5 or 6 o'clock. And sometimes it's not till the next day. I've prayed about it all day and I keep praying about it. And the next day, all of a sudden I realize, okay, this is settled now. I don't know how, I may not have had an answer or an indication even how it's going to be answered, but I'm settled the Lord's handling it. That there is, and a lot of times I guess it has to do with unbelief on my part. I really didn't, I know that I'm praying about it, but I'm not sure God's really going to do this.
Right.
And so I have to keep praying about it enough. And then, so along with that, I'll go, Lord, would you remind me how smart you are? Would you remind me how strong you are? Because I'm really struggling with letting you handle this, because I'm not sure this is getting done, because I don't see anything. And this really needs to get done.
Yeah.
And so it's like a battle over unbelief is what I'd tell you.
Definitely. And again, we're not just believing for the outcomes. We're believing in who he is.
Right.
And I think that's important, because, one of the things, again, you talk about is I can either pray about something or worry about something.
Yeah, always.
And, Philippians 4, things that, says pray about everything, or no, don't worry about anything, but pray about everything. And then he tells us what we should do in that. Tell him what we need.
Yeah.
And then thank him for all that he's done. And what's the benefit of telling God what you need and then thanking him for all that he's done? Why does that bring about that peace?
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of ways to look at this, but the whole idea of thanking him for what he's already done is always helpful to me. And I have I literally have a list of things that I always that I carry with me when I go for a prayer walk, of things that I'm thankful for. These were written out years ago. I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for my kids. I'm thankful for my house. Well, and I don't have to pray these every day, but at least once a week I do. I mean, I need to say thank you, because when I start going back on, I prayed for so many of these things, and even for our kids to get into the world safe and sound, that God would grant us these children. These sons we have are amazing, and I love them, but we prayed that to even have them, and then for them to find wonderful girls to marry, and they all did, and then we prayed for grandchildren, and they're amazing. And by the time I start really thinking back, we prayed for this and God answered it in abundance. We prayed for that, God answered it in abundance. We prayed for this and God answered it in abundance. Well, after I've thanked him for all those things, and he was faithful to do this, faithful to do this, faithful to do this, faithful to do this, now I can bring my request to him and go, well, if you were faithful in all those things, I mean, the ledger is 999 things in a row. I mean,
Right.
You're 999 for 999.
Right.
You didn't miss anything. Well, then my little one request will make it an even 1,000. And it just changes the way I pray, and it also contributes to the peace, because now comes this subtleness. Well, look, I know this is hard, but this was hard, and this was hard, and this was hard, and this was hard. And I just thanked him for all those things already.
Yeah, because again, we're bringing our request to him, and if he's been faithful in all those other times that we had to bring requests that we didn't know how he was going to do it or what was going to happen, yet we've made it through those and have seen his faithfulness, it just does give us that confidence. It guards our hearts and our minds.
Oh, all the
us that
time.
peace.
Yeah, and the other thing that really struck me, even when I didn't stress this strongly enough when we were talking about whether it's Sabbath keeping or whether it's intentional prayer times, I didn't put enough emphasis on the fact that a personal relationship with God takes time. I mean, it just takes time.
Right.
A relationship with a coworker, like between us, it takes time. We have to meet, we have to talk, we have to plan, we have to say, divvy up tasks, you do this, I'll do that. Well, my relationship with my wife takes time, and she reminds me of that.
Right.
Quite faithfully.
Yeah.
If I want to catch my grandkids, they're only little once.
Right.
And so I try to get with them as much as I can, because they're growing up like weeds. I mean, they grow so fast, and it's like, and you turn around and it's gone. And so everything that I truly value in life that I want to enjoy is going to take time.
Yeah, and not only the time that you invest in it, but also the time of, like in our relationship, we've known each other for a long time. I know a lot about you. I know how you're going to respond to things. I know, like, if I have something that's like, I got to go talk to John about this, I'm not worried, he's going to fly off the handle about
Right.
this. We've had enough conversations about things. I know how you're going to receive things. And,
Right.
So that ongoing relationship where you have confidence in the character of a person, that's also important in a relationship.
Oh, yeah, because somebody asked me that a while ago. They said, well, how can you know if God is really going to follow through? I mean, get this subtleness. And it's like, and that comes from that time again. It's not just time in prayer asking for things. It's time sitting in his presence. It's time thanking him for what he's done. It's time reading the Bible and seeing how he's interacted with people through the ages. But you get to know his character, and as you get to know his character, you know what he wants, and oh yeah, he's never going to go for that. I mean, my wife, we've been married 38 years. I've gotten pretty good at buying gifts for her. First 2 or 3 birthdays and Christmases, man, I was over. It was terrible. There were, there were tears many times, like, and I thought I was giving a really good gift. My mom would have liked it, and wow, that was the wrong thing to say. Yeah, wow. So never ever tell your wife, hey, you didn't like the gift. My mom, and mom would have liked it. Yeah, she's not my mom.
Right.
And so she reminded me of that. But the whole idea is that if I can instead, spend time with the Lord, well, then I get to know, like you said, how he's going to react. And look, he's been faithful 38 out of 38 times here, so I know he's going to do this. I just don't know when.
Right.
And that's important. And one other thing that we hit quite often here, but I didn't mention at all, amazingly, I don't even know how this didn't get in, because I say it all the time, is that when you come to daily time with the Lord or Sabbath keeping, it's the whole idea of you have to build margin into your life.
Yeah.
And margin is the difference between, if this is my limit and this is my load, if I load myself all the way to my limit, I have no margin. I mean, if I spend every dollar, I have no margin in my finances. If I spend every hour working during the day, I have no time with family. If I spend all my energy, I have no time to work out when I get home. You can put it in any area of your life. And so I have to have a difference between the load I'm carrying and my absolute limit. And many times this is our credit limit. We're already at that or beyond it. We're already at our energy limit. We're already at our time limit. We're overcommitted. We're triple, double tasking everything. And so there's no margin. Right. And another name for margin is peace. Because when I have extra money in the bank and a cushion, that helps with peace.
Right.
When I know I've got a Sabbath day coming up, I've been, working hard all week and I'm tired. Well, if I know I got a day to rest, okay, I got time to think, I got time to pray, I got time to be with family, I'm okay. That margin is vital to peace.
Yeah. We've talked about the need for Sabbath, that it helps us spiritually in our relationship with God. We've talked how it helps relationally, how we can invest that time in other people. But you've also mentioned that this Sabbath also helps us physically.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, there's this whole deal of de-stressing when it's just amazing. I read a ton of articles that weren't Christian articles at all. They were from Forbes, they were from Business Weekly, they were from all kinds of podcasts designed for, or just posts online, news articles that were just geared toward maximizing employee production.
Right.
And they said you have to make sure that employees take time off because some of the highest performing employees were not people who were working 80, 90 hours a week. They were working 60 or 70, still a big load, but when they were off, they were completely off.
Right.
And they said there's no substitute for that. It won't work to kind of be halfway saying I'm off, but I'm still answering the phone. I'm still working on stuff while I'm on the treadmill and stuff because your mind never gets a chance just to completely rest.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting that you could make a good case for the Sabbath based on psychological studies and performance outcomes for modern business models. In fact, they suggested, hey, you need to tell your employees, we're not a 24/7 company, we're a 24/6. We work 24/6 here. Right. And they even mentioned Chick-fil-A. I think Chick-fil-A is doing just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to be knocking it, killing it, knocking it out of the park everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So,
well, again, I just think about the importance of realizing that God's will for us is good, perfect, and pleasing. Yeah. And, He's not giving us a Sabbath to try and earn our favor with Him. It's because He's a good Father, and He's like, I want to give you a day because you need it. I made you. I know what you need. I know you need time to build margin in your life so that you don't get overwhelmed by everything you think or run to the limit of all your physical abilities and stuff. We're finite, and we need that time to recharge and rest.
Yeah, and I think it really says a lot about our faith too, and that is that if I'm not willing to take that time, if I'm saying I have to do this, well then it goes back to again, God gives rest to those He loves, and so I'm saying no, He doesn't. He won't provide for me. He won't take care of me. I have to do this for myself. Well, maybe I'm living at a standard of living I don't need to be living at. Right. If the Lord isn't telling me I need that standard of living, why am I ramping it so high that I got to kill myself to maintain it? Right. And maybe I'm pushing myself to achieve things that He never called me to do because there's no joy in it. There's no peace in it. I'm just exhausted and stressed and angry all the time because things aren't working out. Well, then maybe He didn't ask me to do that. And so that's what Sabbath gives us time to do too. Is just that's the last thing I'd say. It's just this whole perspective shift. When I have a chance to step outside of my routine, escape the gravitational pull of whatever I'm doing all week long, and actually look at it from a higher orbit here, I can say, why am I doing this? I don't even like this. I never wanted to do this. How did I drift into this? Right. And then I can start working my way back. And I think that's the big thing that happens to me a lot on Sabbath days. I'll realize, hey, what's been stealing my joy? What's been exhausting me? Because if I'm just bone weary tired, sometimes it's okay, I can celebrate that. This was good. I worked hard. I just need a rest. I mean, everybody knows what it's like to be tired after a good day's work. But we also know what it's like to be tired when you felt like you were spinning your wheels.
Right.
And if I'm doing that, then a Sabbath helps me correct that.
Yeah. Well, I think, obviously this series came because you're not only a teacher, but you have a pastor's heart, and you want us to experience life the way that God wants us to. And He wants us to have life that's full of peace and not filled with worry and anxiety and being just tired all the time.
Right. So to help us get off our phones, we started a podcast.
Yeah. Well, again, we hope that you'll get more insight into the Word, that maybe it'll be another conversation that helps you with your Connect group or whatever way. But we'd love for you to also let us know. Maybe there's more questions that you have after a sermon that this would give us an opportunity to go,
address them,
to address that. We'd love to do that as well. So we're just thankful that you're willing to share a little bit of time with us. Hope that you will like this, share it, tell your friends about it, because we want you to experience all that God has for you.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.